Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to the garden. Today we're going to be hanging up a trellis on the area behind me here. So this area hides the pool filter and all the other sort of like mechanical to the pool behind me. In the spring, I planted a rose called Kiss Me Kate. It's a short climber and it's a beautiful pink rose. I'll pop a picture of it on the screen. And I planted it knowing I was going to trellis it up this area, but I hadn't figured out in the spring how I was going to do that. So as you're aware, I'm a brand ambassador for Heirloom roses this year, and I've planted a lot of their own root roses, which I grow own root roses because they do really well here in our cold climates. And if there's any dieback over winter, all the growth from the bottom of the rose will be true to the name of the plant. So Heirloom Roses sent out one of their trellising systems for me to try out and hang on this wall, and we're going to walk through that process together. Let's unbox it and I'll show you what it looks like. So overall, I'm really impressed with the sturdiness of it. You can see they are square tubes here, and they match my fence perfectly. And it's actually a bigger gauge tubing than my fence, so it's really substantial. It's total of 3 foot by 6 foot. When you assemble both of them together, you could essentially do it horizontally if you wanted to. You could pair multiple of them together. Today we're just going to be hanging one vertically up this wall. And it comes with all the pieces you need to install it really easily, down to the screws, which are also black and match the trellis. So let's get to measuring and hanging up this, and we'll see what it looks like. So installing this trellis should be relatively simple. There are 4 brackets which have 2 screws each, so a total of 8 screws is all you got to worry about. And the trellis essentially hangs into these brackets here, which makes it really nice, hangs at the perfect distance across the wall, because you don't want a trellis directly attached to the wall. That gives you a really difficult time trying to actually tie the rose up the wall when you need to, and allows you to kind of weave the roses and the canes in and out of the trellis system as needed. And if you ever need to remove it or cut down the rose and remove it and access the wall behind it, paint it like I may be doing to this in the future, then you can essentially pop it off, do all the work you need to do, and pop the trellis right back on. Super simple, right? Now the hardest part of the system for me was trying to decide how close I want it to the fence, because I have these vertical running wood pieces here to hide the pool pump system. I'm actually going to hang it on this one and this one, so it'll be over a little further. I considered hanging it from this one and this one, but I thought it might be a little too close to the fence and a little more off-centered than I would like. So we're going to attach it essentially somewhere around here and here. And then it's going to be a total of 6 foot tall, a little bit off the ground, maybe a foot or so, not a huge amount, but kind of centered in between where you can see the top here and then the bottom where it will hang closely so the rose can be trained up on it really easily. So because I want to hang this pretty centered, I'm going to measure the total height of this area. It's roughly 100 inches. So the trellis is 6 foot, that's 72 inches, and so that means we have 28 inches to split. So I'm going to do roughly 14 inches. So that is going to be 86, and then come down 4.5 inches from there, because that's where the first hanger is going to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, a half, so around here. And let's put the first hanger about right there and see how that looks. Now these hangers need to be roughly 16 to 20 inches apart. So I'm going to measure that right quick and make sure that I can do it evenly between the 2 posts as well. So that will be perfect. So I'll be about 19.5 inches, which will be perfect for here. Let's place this center on this post, which is 5.5. So we're going to do 2 3/4. So I'm going to hang this first bracket in the center of this post, or drill a pilot hole, and then we'll go on from there. So I know that was a lot of math, but you just want to make sure you get it the height you want to be able to climb the rose up how you like it. I'm going to attach the first screw to this bracket and then let it hang naturally, and we'll go from there. This is the part where it's nice to have a second drill so you don't have to switch bits out so much. All right, I'm gonna leave this a little loose so we can make sure it's level. I don't know how super level these posts are, or these wood planks, so we're going to try and arrange it kind of somewhat in the middle. So even if the wood isn't necessarily level, I want the trellis as level as it can be. So I'm going to get my other bracket here, put it in the center. So right there is perfectly level. So for anyone curious about what bit size to choose, it does tell you in the instructions, but you always just hold your bit up to the screw that you've got here, and you want the threads of the screw to be, let's hold it this way, wider than the drill bit. So you don't want it so small that it's going to expand the wood and crack the wood, but big enough to remove enough of that wood so the screw is secure. All right, now we're going to hang the first part of the trellis from this system and see what it looks like and add the additional screws to level it out. So you hang it from this first top piece here, and it slides around a little bit. Now let's make sure it's perfectly level, and then we will attach the remaining screws to this. And that looks perfect. Let's drill the remaining screw holes. So the next part of this is really simple. So these trellises are connected. There's two of them equal size, are connected using these plastic couplers to allow it to stand upright. And we're going to connect those right quick. They just slide right in, pop in, and then you can hang the trellis back on the wall and install the last two brackets. So let's get that completed. All right, from this point, I'm going to recommend you grab a couple big zip ties and zip tie it together temporarily. Depending on how your trellis was machined, the plastic connectors may fit snugly or they may be a little loose. Mine are a little loose, and so to make it hang easier for installation, we're going to zip tie it together, and then when we put it up there, it will hang perfectly and we can remove the connectors. I'm just connecting two zip ties together here, two of the longer ones. You can also use some small rope or anything you might have on hand to do so. If you're installing this with another person, it would also be a little easier too, because you wouldn't need zip ties. They could just hold it up for you. But this allows it to stay there perfectly. And let's hang this on the wall and see what it looks like. That is stunning. So let's get the second brackets installed down here, and then we'll be all done, and then we can cut the zip ties off. Now in the instructional video online, they show it hanging on this second rung here of the trellis from the bottom, which is what I'm going to do as well, since that's what's shown online. So I want to line it up here and then push it all the way up as far as it'll go. And then let's get Now that we're done with all the attachments, I'm going to disconnect these zip ties and we're good to go. So as I mentioned, the rose I planted on here is 𝗖𝗎𝗗𝗘𝗢. 𝗖𝗎𝗗𝗘𝗢 is an arborrose. It gets roughly 7 foot tall and 4 foot wide. This trellis is almost perfectly 7 foot tall now. It's 6 foot in length, and then I have it about a foot off the ground, as you can see down here. Really sturdy system after it's installed. And I'm really happy with the quality and how it looks on this trellis. Let's back up a little bit so you can see it next to the fence. I think that's going to be stunning next year. Next to it is a rose of Sharon called White Pillar. This thing will get as tall as this area too. And then beneath it I can plant some companion plants with this rose. Maybe some catmint. This is the south side of the house, so it's going to get a lot of sun. and intermingling some perennials in this area will work really nicely with this rose and trellis. Remember, if you're looking for any roses this fall, you can use the link in my description to get a discount on any of the roses. So you can pick up a climbing rose for the side of your home or garage and a beautiful trellis from Heirloom Roses. Thank y'all for joining me in this video. Stick around as we watch this Kiss Me Kate arbor rose grow up this trellis in the spring. Take care, everyone. And remember, be a light. Bye.